All right, good morning and welcome to this month's Spotlight webinar. Today we are excited to present a new program offering called Pathways. Please put any questions you may have in the Q&A. I'd now like to turn the program over to today's hosts, Audre Midura and Craig Gielarowski. Audre and Craig.
Thank you, Mr. Whittemere. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Pathfinders. This is an exciting collaboration between the Mental Health Consortium and Allied Health Services and Outdoor Education. It was kind of born out of an idea that our children are really in need of nature and the outdoor experience. So we kind of came together and thought about different activities that can help support our students, as well as making sure that they get a wonderful experience through the environment. So today we're going to take you kind of through an overview of some of the history of it, the activities that occur here, and the science behind the benefits of nature in terms of social emotional learning, executive functioning skills, as well as mental health possibilities. So I just want to first thank Matt Domena for curriculum instruction, and also Dr. Shaundrika Langley-Gray for supporting us in this endeavor.
Yeah, great. So, Craig, why do you feel that being outside is linked to mental well-being?
You know, Audrey, it's funny because if you ask yourself, or you ask yourself, what's your happy place?
Right.
What do you do to relieve stress? Why is it your happy place? Nobody in the world says it's in an office under fluorescent lights. It usually involves some sort of outdoors, either be at the beach, or it's a walk in the park, or it's just being outside in your backyard is the happy place. We've recognized this in the business world and in the education world, where when school years start, we provide retreats for adults, and during conference days, we provide retreats. But we have to also ask ourselves, why can't we provide that same thing to our children and give them those same experiences?
Good point. So you spend a lot of time outside. I'm jealous. What effects have you seen on your own children when you take them outside?
So it's the effects are astronomically positive. We're in a society now where our young children, as well as our young adults, are suffering from anxiety and depression, and are lacking kind of the social skills to build those relationships and those bonds. But taking a child outside of that comfort zone, the world in which they live in every single day, really levels the playing field and gives them an opportunity to kind of explore one another and have that opportunity for conflict resolution, for developing communication skills, to really make sure that they're creating those long-lasting bonds.
Right, because what are kids doing now is
kids are sitting behind screens. They're my own daughter, they jump on the little group chat, and they all play together from their own individual homes, their little isolated pods. It seems like we're kind of still have some remnants of our lockdown. So really now it's time for us to break down those walls and get those kids away from those screens and bring them back out into the environment.
Yes, because I know my son's up sometimes when he steals his phone till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely.
So what do you think's going on with our kids?
Since 2010, there's been this hyper focus of social emotional learning and mental health awareness within our schools and within our societies. But yet, since 2010, we've seen a dramatic increase in, again, anxiety and depression, in various mental health disorders. Though we've spent all this time, energy, and money in combating it, I really think that we need to get to the root cause of the issue. And for us here in outdoor ed, that's the lack of nature, the lack of environment.
Right. Because, I guess you could say kids really, we give them recess, it's like mandated to have recess, and they're all in these, outside sports activities. Can you say something a little bit about that? Like, you know, my son plays soccer. Do you think that's the same?
I mean, it's wonderful for sports, for the physical body and just being outside. But what we've seen over the last couple of decades is the increase in organized, structured,
Right.
adult controlled play.
Right.
And what we're missing is that unstructured, the ability for children to go out and be creative and take in things from their environment and build a teepee with sticks and not so much be under the rules of an organized sport or dance or whatever it may be.
Do you think that it's had other effects besides mental health and wellness on students, this
Yeah,
phone-based play?
absolutely. I mean, there's international academic tests that focus on math and reading and the science, and we've seen a decline in the achievement being from the effects of what screens have done with the introduction of the smartphone and social media. So we are taking this opportunity to try to address the root cause of that.
Mhm.
It's true. I mean, we've really moved from early 2000s to now to we've become a digital world. Everything is on our phones, no matter what we need to do. So really, it is our mission to get the phones to be put away, get away from those screens, and really get the benefits of not only the environment, but also working together and having children face to face.
Do you think adults know what their children are doing when they're on the phone and online?
I would say to an extent, we all, society is much different. We work sometimes 2, 3 jobs. We work for long periods of time, and parents are tired, and we've almost kind of used our tablets and iPads as a babysitter. And I really think it's not a time to kind of step back, but if anything, a time to step forward and really allow to have conversations with the children about what they're watching and what they're playing on their devices.
So I think we both agree that children are certainly overprotected in the real world and not so much online. You want to talk a little bit about that? Like,
yeah, it's if you think about it, I mean, not that long ago, I was young and a child, and I remember getting on my bike and going to the park and picking up friends along the way and just exploring and having to be back before lunch and then have lunch, then shoot back out again. I don't really see that type of play now, even with my own children and in my community, that type of play exists.
it's true. People often say like that they don't see children walking to school anymore, and it's interesting if you look at the data on this slide, right?
Yeah,
About that.
very interesting how we keep moving things to saying they're not ready yet, they're not ready yet, they're not ready yet. And I think one of our goals here when we came up with this program was to say that children are ready way before we even think that they are or even know that they are.
Yeah. You can give us some examples of why children, like some examples of this, like I'm saying my son plays sports, so I think he's outside, but you were saying that's supervised, like, underneath the eyes of a coach. Like, can you give me some other examples?
We talk about play dates, and my daughter comes home and says, "Oh, Daddy, I want to have a play date with so and so," and then so now it's like I have to contact the parents. We got to check our schedules. We've become so over structured and so over organized that we're kind of taking away that freedom and that exploration from the children. And that's really, again, where the focus of this program is to provide them an opportunity to be unstructured, be unorganized within a developed curriculum, within an organized task. So the task has been organized, but how they get to the goal of that task is developed among the children. And that's where the communication and the conflict resolution and developing those positive relationships comes from.
That's great. You think you can talk a little bit about some of the opportunities that children will find in the Pathfinders program?
Yeah, it's I mean, if you think about it, you take a child, you bring them out to our one of our facilities here, and they get an opportunity to really understand about themselves on what makes them feel good, what makes them feel uncomfortable, and what are the steps to get to that next level. We talk about we allow children to develop their relationships going through the various elements of our program. Take one of our low rope course, for example. Students have to work as a team to get across this element while the others are supporting and providing that safe environment, all working on that peer relationship. Not one child can accomplish this alone.
So you talked about the unsupervised play, and you've also talked about like high ropes courses and that kind of stuff. Can you talk about why play is so important and a little bit about why children need to take risks when they play and what exactly that means?
Sure. Throughout childhood, we test things. You know, when we're little, we go to touch something. No, that's hot. And now we know what hot means. We may burn ourselves on some hot water. Now we know that is hot. We may get to a certain point as we're climbing up in the playground, and now we know we feel uncomfortable. So we know, okay, from here we can't go any further. It's almost like if you were to tell yourself that if you're afraid of breaking your bones, you would sit always. But then your bones would never develop, your muscles would never develop. You have to push yourself to develop your own sense of awareness and your own strengths and your own limitations.
So is that part of why you have that ropes course here for children to get over their fear of heights or like balancing?
Yeah, we work on a mission of challenge by choice. And it's our instructors along with the children's peers are able to encourage one another to maybe come out of that comfort zone in a perceived dangerous situation. You know, we have full safety procedures. Children are never in harm's way, but it's the perception that the child needs to overcome an obstacle that allows them to grow in our environment. You know, it's funny, we've been talking about the activities and how it helps build relationships and how we're trying to get that friend group and that unstructured play. But there's so much research behind the positive social emotional aspects of the environment. Nature, sunlight, the greenery all triggers what's called our parasympathetic nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
It's that ability to relax and unwind. It's that same feeling you get when you're sitting on the beach and you're listening to the waves. And it takes a day or two to kind of get rid of that hustle and bustle, and it lowers your cortisol level. The effects of nature has been proven time and time again to really increase relaxation and decrease stress.
Are you saying that we all need to hug trees?
Hugging trees, sure, if you're into it. But there are actual benefits of being in the trees. Trees release an enzyme called phytoncides, and it's if you ever go out to the forest and you smell the pine trees. Yeah. We all know what that is. Well, that smell is actually a self-defense mechanism to protect the trees. But what it does for us is that it boosts our immune system. It takes our T cells and increases the number and boosts our immune system. So we're now, not only is it making us feel better being out in nature, but it actually is taking our immune system and making it even stronger. Not only that, it increases the serotonin, the dopamine, testosterone, all the good hormones that activate our body.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So what about academic standards? Some people want to make sure that when they take field trips here or they start utilizing some of the programs that you're suggesting, or even in their own districts start taking the children outside and things. Can you talk about how academic standards are met with outdoor education, outdoor experiences?
Sure. Pathfinders was strictly developed to address the social emotional needs, the Castle 5 principles, the New York State SEL benchmarks. But as we were developing the program, we also noticed that we were hitting the New York State science learning standards. We were hitting the New York State physical education standards. The opportunity is not only for Pathfinders, but the other outdoor ed programs enable us to recreate colonial life and touch upon the social studies framework, to explore the beaches and the and the ecology of our North Shore and South Shore allows us to create various studies and take in observations of the flora and the fauna and the various habitats that happen within Long Island, and then with the New York State standards, and then the physical education standards. Our Project Adventure, our low ropes, really incorporates a lot of that, taking it from the school building and bringing it into the real world.
So, but we're having a little problems with our slides here, not advancing. Well,
We'll continue.
We'll continue. So can you talk a little bit about some of the activities that students can participate in while here?
Sure. So when we are looking at Brookville, for example, our Brookville campus, we have 16 acres, and the goal of the program is to bring students together, to focus on their self-awareness, their relationship building, their understanding of what it means to be responsible decision-making, the social awareness within their community. And the day starts off with our opening circle, similar to a restorative circle, where our instructors and the students work together to develop that foundational relationship, the trust. And from there, they're taken through various elements and programs throughout. We start off with our team building games, where there's a task given, and they are then supposed to create those and then keep moving forward. We then have our low ropes element, which, again, in that perceived danger environment, students work together to overcome their own obstacles. The potential that we have in outdoor learning and in outdoor education really allows us to hone in on those executive functioning skills.
Sure.
It's for planning, it's for time management, it's problem solving. You see one of the problems here. We have to get this group of students over this wall with as fast as possible. And leadership skills are developed, the opportunity to hear different perspectives and different point of views from everybody involved. So not only do we have our forest landscape, but we are able to do this within our beach landscape. So children, again, plan, organize based off a task assigned. Here you see children creating a teepee shelter, and survival skills is one of those avenues in which we use to create community and team building.
Sure. I think, yeah, kids need to learn those basic skills. We just don't think about things anymore.
It gives them that opportunity outside of the four walls. How else can they take what they've learned and apply it in the real world?
Sure. Team building. I love this picture with the kids walking. So I know that you have provided in some of the materials that you can give to the schools a crosswalk where you took apart some of the programs that are available here, different grade bands, and then you applied which benchmarks are met by the programs. Can you just talk a little bit about some of these?
Real quick, we were able to take all of our activities, all our programs, all our elements. We sat them side by side with the Castle 5 principles and the SEL benchmarks, and we said, okay, what fits where based on children's ability, developmental level, and we were able to categorize in different grade bands from adults, K-2, early high school, late high school, and really it's a continuum, and what it does, it starts off with the early K-2 children as developing self and developing their own awareness of how their emotions affect others. And then as we go through into high school, it's how do we fit in a larger community, and what stewardship and advocacy can we bring to our community.
And those programs are available right now.
Programs are
right?
available. They've been available since our kickoff, which happened April 2nd. They
Great.
can happen here at Brookville. They can happen at our ComSet facility. And there are some of the programs that we can actually bring to the schools. And for we call JBC, are just beyond the classroom activities.
Great. And if schools maybe don't have time during the academic calendar year, I know that you also offer some summer programs that I didn't even know existed. And these are fantastic. Want to talk a little bit about this one?
Yeah, so outdoor ed is all encompassing, and what we've done over the summertime is given various districts as well as some of our local universities, SUNY Westbury, Hofstra, Levittown Public Schools, have all taken on the opportunity to create a summer camp. And it is fully ran by us in terms of the day-to-day activity. The districts and the universities are the ones that provide the busing, and they take care of tuition and all that other stuff. But we provide the guided experience throughout Long Island. We've gone from the Riverhead Aquarium to the seashore of the North Shore and the South Shore, as well as our forest activities here at Brookville. We're also offering a wilderness adventure similar to Survival.
Love it.
I know Survivor is a big TV show, but a lot of those aspects of building a fire, cooking outside, tent building, those are all ways in which students can, again, work on building that community away from those screens.
Yeah.
So here's some of just our fun activities, both for as young as K-2 and as old as adults. We do a lot of professional development and retreats for school administrators and private organizations and corporations here.
Yeah, in fact, I organized our first mental health consortium meeting in September to be out at ComSet State Park. We're going to do some activities and see, and maybe hug some trees. Love that. Can you also talk a little bit more about that challenge by choice? So some of the things that they can do?
Challenge by choice is, especially for people in the education world, the zone of proximal learning. It's taking the children from their comfort zone to that next level of a learning zone before we hit panic, before we hit utter fear.
So you get a little bit of that adrenaline, like, oh, no. And then you conquer it and it's like, I can do it.
And it's that feeling. It's that, I can do it, that lasts with them forever. And it's that transferable skill. Now that when they hit something that may be troublesome or difficult in their real life outside of our facility, they're able to say, well, I was able to accomplish this, and now I'll be able to accomplish that.
Sure. So what does a day look like here?
A day runs, it's up to the district's choice, up to the group's choice. We have a pre-meeting with every school or every organization to find out what their goals are, what their objectives. We have some surveys that we send out before the groups come, so we get an idea of where their strengths are, where the areas of needs are. So we're able really to tailor and prescribe what we do. But here you see on the screen, it's like an overview of what we do. We have a welcoming, our opening circle, as I discussed before. We have some activities. There's an opportunity for lunch. Most children bring a bag lunch. We've had some districts and some organizations order in lunch, which is a nice touch. And then we always end, which probably is the most important part, is our closing circle, to really solidify the bonds and to review and reflect on these activities.
Sure. And one of the things that we collaborated is we had all the naturalists trained in restorative practices, so they know how to run a restorative practice circle.
100%. Yes, that was fantastic. Thank you for that.
Yes.
I mean, we could talk about this all day.
Yeah.
And really the evidence is clear. There's so many benefits, not only for the mental well-being of children, young adults, older adults, but also the physical well-being of our students, and building that that positive aspect, making us feel good, making us both mentally and physically, then transfers into the classroom.
Sure. And, part of the work that you and I have been collaborating really centers around, the effects of this phone-based childhood and, how, just detrimental effects that it's had on an entire generation of kids and things we can do about it. By increasing outdoor play and access to, unsupervised play, what that looks like, and certainly starting
Well,
here.
supervised, unstructured.
Right, unstructured, right. We just wanted to invite everybody. We do have a summit this year. It is on May 30th at the Tillis Center. This is registration information is here. We have a fantastic lineup of speakers, including the opening remarks will be from Zach Roush, who is Jonathan Heights, which is the book right here, The Anxious Generation. His head researcher will be going over some data, which we actually use some of that data for this presentation today. It's fascinating. And we are really encouraging parents to attend. So this is one of the first summits we've had. We've actually had open registration for parents, and we'd love to have as many people there as possible.
This all started months and months ago with us coming together. And I think, well, I know our next step is for all of us to come together and create that educational environment where it could be as simple as using the outdoors around a school building, a courtyard, a grass field, a bench, to start to promote outdoor learning, to promote the benefits of getting children outside, to promote the positive relationships and the responsible decision-making that needs to happen. And going back to that data from the beginning, there's other data that shows that performance skyrockets when children feel safe, when they feel de-stressed. So it's going to be a balance, but really together, all of us, I think, can create that lifetime of success.
Great.
So I want to know if there's really any questions. Audre and I are willing to talk to anybody and answer the questions that any of our participants may have. I know Angela, you're gonna see if we got what we got.
We do. We have one question. The person would like to know how they can set up a challenge by choice at Adventure Park. They love that the circles are included and they're looking to do it in May. How does that process work?
That is wonderful to hear. They can email reserve OEE at nassboces.org, or they can call me directly, 516-396-2935, and we will be able to find a date for them where we can have their group out, and we could discuss the details again. Like we said, it's prescriptive and it's adaptive. So I'd love to speak to who they are and make sure we get this moving forward.
Sure, and I'll share their information with you when we finish. We also have a question about whether you'd be willing to share the slide deck.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll do that.
We'll share the slide deck. We'll come to the school and give the presentation.
Great. Anyone else, if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A. We'll give you a couple of seconds to do so. Okay, they want me to put the contact information in the chat. So
it's also on the BOCES website under outdoor education. All of the contact information is there as well. A lot of this information also went out on listservs, both my listserv as well as Audre.
It's reserve OEE at nassboces.org, correct?
Yep.
Perfect. That's in the chat now. Are you available this summer to train teams?
Absolutely. That is actually a great question. We have had multiple teams reach out to us about creating that sense of team before their season starts. We've had college level teams, we've had varsity and junior varsity teams, just recently we had the Glen Cove's lacrosse team here, and we are absolutely open to any team that wants to bring it together as a retreat for them. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's it. So thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank
And,
you.
Craig, I think you had one final video to show.
Yeah. Just want to say thank you, everybody, and enjoy. This is our top set facility.